Welcome back. Well, from escalating fights in the Gaza Strip to ongoing investigations into the crash of Malaysia Flight M17, the week has been jam-packed with big stories in the news and the politicians at the center of them. But how do everyday Americans feel our leadership is handling the crisis here? Well, we're going to ask Lee Carter, partner of the polling firm Maslansky and Partners here. And, you know, tons of issues going on right now. The American people are paying attention. You know that. You sat with them on Tuesday. And we're going to go through some of the quotes and how they read to Americans out there. This is President Obama delivering a warning to Russia on Ukraine.
If Russia continues to violate Ukraine's sovereignty and to back these separatists, and these separatists become more and more dangerous and now are risks not simply to the people inside of Ukraine, but the broader international community, then Russia will only further isolate itself from the international community, and the costs for Russia's behavior will only continue to increase.
So, Lee, can you explain what those dials mean as they go up and down, and how different the blue and the red dials are?
So you see on one side you've got the liberal line and you've got the conservative line. And it's not necessarily news that there's such a divide, but that is a huge divide. We're looking at a 30-point divide. Just because he's communicating. He opens his mouth and people are polarized, and it makes it really difficult to have a conversation. But there's one thing that these people all agree on, and that is that President Obama should be doing more. He should be getting more of the whole Europe involved. They don't blame Obama for Putin, but they do think that this is politics as usual, that he could be doing more, and that we should be working to get oil over to Europe. And everybody thinks that the solution is right in his face, and he's just not doing anything about it.
So closer on those issues. So they started worlds apart, it seems, on the dials there. Let's go to Netanyahu and whether he spoke on whether and if Israel will exit Gaza.
We didn't seek this escalation. Hamas forced it on us. They started rocketing our cities, steadily increasing the fire. I called for de-escalation. They refused. I accepted an Egyptian ceasefire proposal backed up by the Arab League and the UN. They refused. I accepted a humanitarian law proposed by the United Nations. They refused. We'll stop our operations when we can bring back quiet to our people.
So initially together, and then a stark dip that we're
dip.
Seeing there with the Prime Minister speaking.
That's right. So you see the blue line was the liberals, the red line was conservatives. And this is a huge divide. I mean, when we talk to the conservatives about it, people think that he's compassionate. They think that he's really likable, that he's doing all that he can. When you talk to liberals, they think he's a warmonger, and people can't even have a dialogue. You can't get a word in edgewise because people are so divided on what we should be doing in Israel, and specifically on what he's saying.
Sure. And now we want to talk about John Kerry speaking whether Obama will put more sanctions on Russia. This is the reaction in the dial.
We think this is a wake-up call for countries in Europe. President Obama, however, took the lead and put additional sanctions in place on energy, on arms manufacturing companies, and on banking. And those are the toughest sanctions that have been put in place to date. He did that the day before this incident took place.
Almost off the chart. Did that dip go?
The chart.
What does it mean?
What it means is that no one, either side, liked him. I mean, he never got above 59. On the liberals and on the Republicans, he went all the way down to 0. What everybody says is they think he's self-interest, that he's out for himself, and he's not out for the good of this country. And he symbolizes everything that's wrong with the country on both sides, but especially with conservatives.
Bring us the pulse and the dials of the American people. Lee Carter, we want to thank you for being with Fox and Friends.
Thanks so much.